My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Companion. And everybody seems to love this movie. Like, it's receiving great reviews, and people are talking about just how crazy and wild this movie is. They're talking about how funny this movie is. They're talking about how brutal this movie is. So I would hate to be a stick in the mud, but I'm going to be a stick in the mud and say this movie isn't good and I find it to be very overhyped. But let's begin by talking about the cast. And Sophie Thatcher, I thought was very bland here. Like, she is just not convincing and she doesn't really stand out as much as she should. Like, it's not a terrible performance, but I was pretty unimpressed. Jack Craig, I thought did a pretty decent job, but that said, it's nothing that we haven't seen from him before, and he's good enough at it, I guess. Lucas Gage, however, to me was the standout. He might actually have the most to do, and I thought he was very convincing, and I thought he was legitimately great here. Harvey Gillian. I don't like this guy. I did not like him in Puss in Boots 2, and I do not like him here. I find him to be a very annoying actor and just not a fan. Megan Sori does absolutely nothing in this movie. Like, you think she might become a main character, but she really doesn't. And Rupert Friend does a fine job, I guess. So, the cast is fine enough. And look, I do think this movie has some cool ideas. There is one scene where a character is playing on an iPhone that I thought was pretty neat. Um, there's one scene with a cop that I thought was hilarious. And maybe there's a couple other moments I'm forgetting about. But, like, number one, it just doesn't feel like anything new. Bunch of characters go to this nice mansion in the woods and things escalate. That has been done so many times before, and despite the attempts, this movie to me just felt like nothing new. It felt like I've seen so many movies just like this. I also thought this movie was just lacking in every sense. Like, this movie is never thrilling, it's never intense, and it's never fun. Like, there is a section of this movie where the characters are looking for someone in the woods, and it's just void of any emotion. Like, I should be on the edge of my seat. I should be invested, and they just do nothing with it. And that's the bigger issue with this movie. You had all this potential, and you just do nothing with it. And it's also very frustrating because so much of this movie's conflicts is built on contrivances. Like, if one character could just shut up for 1 minute and not explain absolutely everything, none of this would be happening. So I was actively pissed off while watching it, And I have to talk about something else. And I'm not going to go too in depth, but I will be talking about the central premise of this movie. So there's your warning. 3, 2, 1. So Sophie Thatcher's character is a warbot. And this movie is trying to explore abusive relationships, which, okay, fine, whatever. But the way it goes about it really doesn't sit well with me. Like, this movie is actively making a point, well, some human robot relationships can be good and healthy, while other human robot relationships are toxic and abusive. And, like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. There is no good human robot relationship. None! Humans should not be having sex with robots. And this movie actively tries to make a point that sometimes the love can be genuine. And it's like, no, it cannot. So, everything this movie is trying to explore just fell completely flat for me. So, like, the cast does a fine enough job. It has its moments. It has some cool ideas. I'll give the movie that. It's not utter dog shit, but I found it to be lacking. I found it to be a real drag. It's nothing new. It's nothing effective. And it made some baffling decisions. So I'm giving Companion a 4 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Companion? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.